if I got a title shot now, people would say he skipped over all these guys. If I fought all these guys first before a title shot, they'd say he's scared of the champ. People are gonna say something regardless. I could walk on water. They'd say it's because I can't swim. So I want challenging fights. I want exciting fights. I think me and Edgar would be an exciting fight for the fans.
From MMA Island. Christopher Santiago here today, joined by the number 2 BKFC featherweight contender in the world, Mr. Nathan Rivera, after his win last weekend at BKFC Michigan. Nathan, how's it going today, man?
It's going great, bro. It's going great. Thanks for having me back on, bro.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, it was great to see you. You break your opponent's jaw. I guess what did you make of your performance and what you did out there on Saturday, man? Because it was a very phenomenal performance from you.
I appreciate it, man. I'm always until I see the footage back, I'm always a little bit underwhelmed with my performance. And it's been that way for a long time. My last 3 fights with BKFC, the first 2, I was like, this is a whole new sport. Let's see if I can kind of do it, and then after that, I was just, I just I want to have a clean performance, and like, luckily I haven't had any stitches put in my face or anything like that in 5 fights, but that small ring is kind of hard to deal with sometimes. 16-foot ring, if your opponent just decides to sprint at you, which my opponent did in the second round, sometimes it gets a little grimy. The fight, it's not as clean and like aesthetically pleasing as I would like, but I was definitely happy that I got it done. I was happy that I left with no injuries. I was happy that his jaw was dislocated, not broken. He didn't have to have surgery. The doctors were able to set it back into place, which was good, man. I mean, he's got a 26-hour flight back to South Africa, and I would hate for him to have to do that with a wired shut jaw.
hmm And coming over from MMA and your experience over there, like a 5-0 BKFC start in the squared circle, I mean, is that what you had envisioned all along?
Yeah, yeah. I realized after my second fight that this is a very good skill set for me. The rule set here at BKFC was great for the skill set that I have, with the coaches I have. Training with MMA fighters. I think MMA is a little bit BKFC is more similar to MMA than I think it is boxing. Just with the rule set, with the habits that you build, MMA fighters don't rely a ton on blocking as much as boxers do, right? In comparison, so like that aspect, the transition was pretty smooth, and coming from MMA to bare knuckle, once I started realizing that I had some traction there, I just wanted to stick with it.
Mhm. And I noticed that you could have landed like a shot or two more whenever Tommy was like turning away from you. I guess can you walk me through the finish and why you didn't land those like 2 extra shots when you could have?
Yeah, uh Tommy's a good dude, you know what I mean? And I think I'm getting to this point in my fighting career where I'm not just reactive. Like I always explain it this way, like there's a line of reactive and there's a line of thinking. And fighting, you kind of have to like vary right in the middle between those two. And I think I'm able to think a little bit clearer in there now as I'm maturing. I've only had 6 professional fights in my life, so I'm still learning as I go. But I remember seeing him turning his head, and I knew he was going to go down. I knew something was wrong. Um, I could have sent a couple more shots, but in this game, it's so weird, man, because you send a couple shots and maybe you crack your hand on the back of his head by accident if he turns, or the crown of his head. So it was twofold. Definitely, I didn't want to inflict anything else on him that I knew he was going to go down. And then the other part was I didn't want to, you know, possibly injure my hand, just because I wanted to get another one off.
For sure, man. And I know you talked a little bit about it on Instagram, but you said that you kind of looked at fighting. You'll never look at fighting the same way again after getting married. I guess can you talk to me a little bit more about that and how did the wedding go, man?
Man, the wedding was awesome, dude. It was so cool. It was a little small wedding outside, with all the people that I love, man. My family. It was great. The honeymoon was great as well. And you know, my wife is awesome. I was in camp on my honeymoon, which to me at first was a little bit scary because I'm thinking to myself, dude, I should not be going on vacation right now, but she gave me time. I found a gym down there to train. She gave me time to do my thing. Um, and, I train 365 days a year. I train all the time. So there's no off season for me. So whenever I do have some time away from the gym for a week, in the back of my head, I know that I've put in the work. I've put in the work to be away from the gym if I have to be. It's kind of like my security net. And yeah, man, just looking at fighting now versus then is so different. I didn't think it would be different. But now it's like, those late nights, early mornings that I don't see my wife for, 12 hours a day. I leave at 7, I don't get back till 9. It's a long time. When I have a family, it's going to be even harder to do that. So I had this shift happen where I was like, I have to make this work, and God's opening all kinds of doors in my life. To where I'm just taking a step closer every single week. It feels like, to being done working full time and just being there for my family and training.
Did you have to go back to work on Monday? And how
Yeah,
has this week been for you?
I did have to go back to work on Monday. It's just crazy, man. It's crazy to go from, like, I'm in sales. I'm in outside sales, and it's so different. Like, when you go fight in front of a big crowd and you get your hand raised and you jump up in the rankings, and then you go clock in on Monday and you're like, all right, back to it. It's motivating. It's definitely not something that gets me down, but it's something that I'm like, I'm very motivated to give me and my wife that life that we want. And we're very fortunate. Like, my wife, she works part time. She doesn't have to work if she doesn't want to. Like, we're very fortunate, very blessed. God's blessed us in that aspect, through fighting. But it's like, sometimes it's like you're pulling two salaries, right? Like, I'm pulling hers through my day job, and then fighting's kind of covering the other costs. And I think we're close to getting it down to just one. So that's what we're kind of crossing our fingers for.
Most definitely, man. And you're number two in the world right now. I guess I wouldn't be surprised if they gave you a title shot, but I did see that you were calling for a fight with Edgar Plaziola. I guess why go after him instead of the champ Kai Stewart?
Yeah, I think Edgar is a lot more of a dangerous fighter than Kai. Um, when I get to the belt, I don't want there to be any questions. I don't want there to be. I mean, people, this more than anyone. People are going to talk no matter what. You know what I mean? I mean, you talk to fighters all day. If I got a title shot now, people would say he skipped over all these guys. If I fought all these guys first before a title shot, they'd say he's scared of the champ. People are going to say something regardless. I could walk on water. They'd say it's because I can't swim. So I want challenging fights. I want exciting fights. I think me and Edgar would be an exciting fight for the fans. He's got 5 finishes, out of 6 fights. I think Kai has like 2 finishes, out of 8 fights. So I really want to put it on for the fans. And then not only that, like, I want to challenge myself. I really want to prove to everybody that there's not been a stone unturned. And if I wanted an easy, quick shot to the title, I don't think Kai is one of those people that is going to pose a big threat to me. So I kind of want to get these hard fights in before I get to him.
What does a title reign look like for you? Like, how do you picture it going? And I guess have you thought about what a title reign looks like for you, Nathan?
Yeah, I mean, having a world title opens a lot of opportunities, right? Um, I I don't have that UFC Bellator background that a lot of these fighters have when they come into the sport. And I think that is something that is kind of good because I can become a homegrown BKFC fighter, right? Um, when I think about a title reign, I think about getting it in Atlanta, preferably the State Farm Arena, packed out. I was very fortunate. I think I did, like, which is not a lot in comparison, but I think I did $47,000 of sales in Georgia in 3 weeks because they gave us
Wow.
a very limited time. But there's some guys out there moving over $100,000 worth of tickets, and I really would love to be given the time to do that. I think title reign starts with getting the belt here in Atlanta, and then I really want to go after these ex UFC guys. MMA is a different sport. There's a lot of great MMA fighters. that don't do very well in bare knuckle, and there's a lot of great boxers that don't do very well in bare knuckle. Um, and then there's some that do great, like Jeremy Stevens and Mike Perry, like those type of guys. But when I get my belt, I really want to just go after these ex UFC featherweights and kind of start collecting those heads if I can.
Mhm. And I like you, Nathan, because I think what separates you from a lot of fighters is that you like to promote yourself, you like to do shenanigans post fight. I guess with the letters and like the posters and stuff like that. I guess where do you take inspiration from when it comes to stuff like that?
Man, I it's funny because I was talking to David Feldman the other day, and I said, "Dude, I'm never gonna be that guy that's gonna talk smack. Like, I'll talk smack, like, but I'm not gonna be that guy that's gonna go talk about banging your mom and killing you and doing this and that. Like, it's not ever gonna be me. So I have to do something that catches people's attention, and then also like I respect the people that I'm fighting. Like I respect Edgar. I think he's one of the best in the division. That's why I want to fight him. So to a call out to him in a more innocent way, not necessarily innocent, but more yeah, not as a harsh way, like just saying I want to fight and maybe it gets the fans excited. It makes me excited to call somebody out because then you call somebody out and you go, oh crap, all right, now let's go really do it. But like the little antics and stuff, man, everyone can knock people out, everyone can look good doing it, but there has to be something that gets people talking on Monday morning after the fights are done. You go fight, and that's like your one window. Like you have that little window to make something happen. And there's a lot of 45ers on the roster. I want to be active. I want to be really active. So if I can punch my ticket for my next fight in the ring, I think I'll do that.
Awesome, man. Another question for you. When was your first time? When did you meet Reese Watkins?
Oh, so I met Reese when he was probably, I don't know, maybe it was like 2019. Maybe I met Reese. And he was always in the gym. We would go to this gym called X3 for sparring. And it was like dog rounds, bro. Like anybody could come in there. There was no, like, the gym was closed. Like we'd have people from the street come in there, try to fight people. Like there was no rules, bro. There was no rules. We set the clock for 5 minutes. Pros, amateurs, all over Georgia, like southeast. I mean, it would be Sunday mornings and Friday evenings, and we would go in there and we would just absolutely scrap, bro. And I was just like, had no fights, getting my ass beat every single day by all these like very experienced pros. And Reese was in there, and we started talking, and like Reese doesn't say anything. I don't know if you know Reese personally. I think you do know Reese personally. He's
Yeah.
a man of very few words until you're homies, and then he talks a lot. But like I remember trying to talk to him for like 3 weeks, and I was like, this guy probably hates me. But in my head, I was like, whatever, bro. I don't care because I'm young. He's young. I have one fight. He has one fight, or I have zero fights. He has zero fights. Like I'm like, you're about to be my friend, bro, because I have nobody in here and everyone's beating my ass. Like, and so we started talking, and then like 3 weeks later, he just came in and started talking to me like off the just and I was like, I think we're friends now. So that's kind of how we became homies. And then he went to school, and we stayed in contact, and then I went to ATT. And then once he got back from school, I was like, dude, you need to come check this out, bro. Like American Top Team over here, like it's good rounds, it's good looks. And so he came over to ATT maybe a month after I got there when he got back from school. And then, he went out to Vegas, and still we talk every day. He's one of my best friends.
Awesome, Nathan. Well, I think that's all the questions I had for you today, man. I just want to thank you again for the time. Is there anything that you want to say to the fans out there watching who have supported you all this time?
Man, I would say just keep your eyes peeled. There's a lot of talks of where I'm going to go next in the division. It's stacked. It's one of these. It's the 45 division of BKFC is one of the biggest divisions, and it could have a top 10, and everyone would be a killer in there. There's a top five. So I'm willing to do a lot of risky things to put on entertaining fights. Meaning, I'm willing to risk my ranking. I'm willing to risk. Um, my standing in the rankings, whatever, just to have exciting fights. So keep your eyes peeled.